My appropriate use topic was about internet safety with middle school students and how to teach it, what to teach, and online bullying, and why, as educators, it's our responsibility. First is, what is internet safety? We're always told that internet safety is out there and we need to be aware of what safe use is, but if we don't fully understand what internet safety is, how do we expect students to? And so internet safety is the knowledge of maximizing the user's personal safety and security risks on private information and property associated with using the internet. And so anytime you're on a social media, when you're shopping online, when you're buying something online, when you're Google searching something, that all entails and goes into the realm of internet safety. Internet safety is a growing concern for both children and adults. And so not only are we teaching our students about internet safety, but most of their parents aren't fully aware of what internet safety is either because they were never taught it. The internet wasn't a big thing back when they were younger. And so we're teaching our students, who in turn are going home and teaching their parents too. Numerous groups and governments and organizations have expressed concerns and are researching many ways of making the internet safer for students. One interesting fact I came across, I didn't put on here, is that they researched many different search engines and finding which one brought up the least inappropriate response. And they said that ask.com is actually the one that brings up, I think they said like 3.4% is inappropriate. And so that means the 96.6% is appropriate responses to what they're searching, which I thought was interesting. How to teach students about internet safety. We can use games. It's interactive and they would be interested in learning. Anytime they can be interactive in their learning, students are more likely to remember and more engaged and more interested in what they're learning. Online safety quizzes, they're a little bit less interactive. They're still taking it online, so they're using technology which interests students, and they're a lot more informational because they're answering questions about the safety of the internet and that kind of stuff. One thing I thought of was, we're always told to get students engaged and interactive in their learning and have them find the answers on their own. And so something I thought of was have them research their own information and what they believe should be important for internet safety, and then teach that to their peers. They're more likely to remember it because they're doing it all on their own. They're in charge of what they're searching. They're in charge of the whole project, and so that engages them to be able to do a good job and present the best information. Another thing I thought of was, a lot of them are already using the internet without knowing what internet safety is. So they already have bad habits. So have them make a list of things that they could change to make themselves safer online. And then as a teacher, model your behavior. Model what you want to see from your students. Next is what to teach the students. The internet is a powerful tool and it needs to be used wisely. The internet can be used for a lot of great things. I'm recording a project on the internet and sharing it to everyone in the class. So they need to understand that it is good and it's a good tool, but they need to know how to use it. They need to be aware of what information they can put online and what they can't, what needs to stay private and what they can share with other people. Be cautious of who they talk to online. It's not always who they say to be, so they just need to be aware that can go on too. And that they need to not meet people in person that they meet online. So that is something that's very important for them to understand and know that that's not acceptable. Next is safety on social media sites. I just list 4 big ones right there. 3 of the 4 I have an account with, so I kind of knew how they worked. But there's plenty more. There's Reddit, there's Tumblr, any kind of site where they share information would count as a social media site. And so they just need to understand that they need to make their contact information private, that no one should be able to see that information. They can limit who can search their profile. I know on Twitter and Facebook you can make it where people can't search you at all. Even if they try to search you in the search engine, they won't pull up any results. So that's something that is very important for them to know, that they can hide that information. They also need to manage their images and who can view them. Students need to know that what they put online today could have negative repercussions for them in the future. The images they put on right now, when they're looking for a job in 10 years, if their employer wants to get back online and see what they've posted, those are always viewable. Even if they delete them, they're still out there on the internet somewhere. And this is sites continued. So they just need to be careful of what they're putting as their status. They don't need to be putting, I'm at this place at this time with these people. It just needs to be a little more private. And they need to understand that what they share with their close friends at school isn't necessarily what they need to share online. Like I said earlier, be cautious of meeting people that they meet online. Never give your password to anyone. That's something that's very tough with middle schoolers for some reason. I've even seen it with some of my apprenticeship classes I've been doing. Students are talking in line about giving out Facebook passwords, and that's something that just sets themselves up for a lot of danger. Something else is they need to be aware of what other people are posting about them. Anyone can tag them in a Facebook post, can tweet at them, can pin something on Pinterest, can put a picture of them up on Instagram. All of that kind of stuff can happen. So they just need to monitor what their friends are saying about them and monitor what they're saying about themselves. And lastly is just be on guard. Be aware of what sites you're on, what they should look like, who you're talking to. When something looks wrong, they need to know what to do. And so that's something else we need to teach them, is what to do when something does go wrong. Next is safety when surfing the web. This is one I think that gets forgotten about a lot of times, but when you search something, inappropriate images or inappropriate information can come up for these students. So they need to know ways to reduce the chance of that happening. So one thing is just be clear on your online searches. Know exactly what you're looking for, describe it with more than one word, and then spell things correctly. Even a small typing error can bring up unwanted results, especially in pictures. And so that's something that they need to learn how to search correctly. They need to know that not all information on the internet is reliable. I think sometimes we get caught up in that, even I do, that I look up something and I read it and I'm thinking, wow, that might be true, but I have to look at my source. And I think that's something that students now don't realize, because the internet's always available for them, that anything that's online should be right and correct, and it's not always that way. That they can filter their searches. They can choose that they want just scholarly articles, or they want just stuff from Fox News or something like that, that is available for them, and so they are getting the most reliable and most credible sources or results when they search stuff. And that they need to know when something does upset them, that they see something or something doesn't look right, who to talk to and what to do about it. Next is online bullying. This is the most prevalent issue right now about internet safety and what to do about it and how to reduce it. This is something that happens in middle schools, high schools, elementary schools, even college or the workforce, anywhere this is happening. Students need to understand that people can pull a picture from anything they want and put it as their profile picture to make them think they're someone they're not. And so this is something we need to be teaching them to look for. Just little hints that show them that something might not seem right. And not to reveal too much information. To always, if you want to tell your close friend something, don't do it over the internet or text messaging. Call them or the next day at school. It's kind of just equipping them with the knowledge of how to reduce their risk. Some signs of online bullying is that they're reluctant to leave home. That's not something as educators we could see, but we could kind of tell when they came to school if they are wanting to be there. We can notice that. Another thing is an increased sadness and or anxiety. That's definitely something we could see in the classroom as teachers, and that is a big indicator that maybe not necessarily online bullying, but something is going on in that student's life. Another thing is if their academic performance is decreasing. Obviously, as educators, that's something we're paying attention to no matter what, and so that'd be a big indicator of what's going on and how, again, not necessarily online bullying is going on, but maybe they're having a hard time at home, or something is happening with their parents or something. Just a way to engage that student to figure out if it is online bullying and what educators can do about it. And lastly, I did, why is it our job as teachers? It's our job as educators to teach students about internet safety. First of all, because it's our job to teach students, whether it be about math, science, social studies, art, reading, English, whatever, any academic, but also about life lessons and how to be a well-rounded person and how to care for others and how to just be a functioning person in society. And some of doing that is knowing when you're in danger and knowing how to use the resources given to you and that kind of stuff. So it's not 100% our job. The parents also need to be doing it too, because that's going to be primarily where they're using these kind of things and where they're most susceptible for this stuff. They know at school that everyone's watching them, and so they're going to be a little more cautious on what they do. And so not only do as teachers, but as parents too. And so we just need to watch, and obviously we're going to be able to tell the students who are getting the support at home also and who aren't. And so we need to be more aware of teaching those students too. And like I said earlier, the parents don't necessarily know all the information about the internet. They didn't grow up in an age that the internet was very prevalently used, or that even online bullying and all that stuff wasn't going on when, at least when my parents were my age. And so the parents might not know the information to give them or how to present it to them. And so as teachers, we need to do our best to do that. Second, they're going to be using the internet in class. If they're ever researching something, if they're using computers in class, we need to equip them with the knowledge of how to use it properly. So that's another reason why it is our job to teach them. And also, as teachers, we want to protect our students. And so what better way than to equip them with the knowledge on how to protect themselves. And so that's another reason I believe it is teachers' jobs to do that. And there was a survey that Microsoft did about teaching internet safety in classrooms and if it's happening and all that kind of stuff. And I was surprised to see that 55 teachers strongly agree that online safety should be covered in curriculum. That was interesting to me. And then another one is that 36% of teachers said that they received 0 hours of training by their school districts in the last year, and that 40% only received 1 to 3 hours of training. So that's something that I expect to grow in the future, that it is going to be more prevalent to see internet safety being taught in schools and how to watch out for scams and how to protect themselves. And so that was my presentation.